How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 14 of the Powerskateshow podcast. And boy, we got a fantastic one for you guys. We're going to be discussing the CL Kraken expansion draft, the NHL draft that happened last week. Not last week, last night. Blockbuster trades that we will get into, some signings. What a week for the Powerskateshow. And not only that, well, Grant's not gonna be here for this episode and the next episode. So we kind of want to share you guys for season 4 intro that's gonna start on this Monday. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But enough blabbering. We got a special guest. You guys know from season 1. Please welcome John from Off the Wall Hockey. John, how's it going, my friend?
It's going really well, dude. Thanks for having me on again. It's great to be here. Excited to talk some hockey because what a week we have had.
Absolutely, my friend. So, for those who do not know, John from Off the Wall Hockey, he has like 5.9k. Oh, he recently got 6,000 subscribers. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
So John, you've been a hockey YouTuber since the 27-18 season. Mm-hmm. Your subscribers went nuts at the 2018 playoffs. So, what was the difference between like today and the start of your YouTube journey?
I'm just way better.
How did it start?
I'm way better at it now. I had never done video before. I had never done anything even close to this when I started, and I was a senior in college and just started doing it in my dorm room. Like my first ever videos were recorded in my college dorm room senior year. And I think obviously it's grown a ton since then. And it's kind of been slow and steady each and every year, getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. But I think I've gotten so much better at it now than when I first started, where I really had no clue what I was doing. But now I've added a lot more things in, a lot more graphics, a lot more, video editing stuff. And I've just gotten a lot better at it. And I think that's made the channel a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think, for like YouTubers like John from Hot Take Hockey, Nordic, and Perlo Wisdom from the All Sports Network guys, and we will definitely get into that. And I'm also talking Melody Martin, diehard Sabres fan, which I didn't know why I brought her up. Isles Girl, Kim. So anyway, next for you. So you've part of the All Sports Network Off the Wall Hockey Show from 8 to 10, I believe.
Yes, 8 to 10 on Fridays.
With Steel. So, how what's it like being with the All Sports Network guys, with Steel, and not only with just yourself with your subscribers, but everybody with the All Sports Network crew.
Yeah, it's cool. They reached out to me after the playoffs last year about joining because they had watched my live streams during the 2020 playoffs, and they reached out and wanted to put something together. And that's how the Off the Wall Hockey Show started, because that was the one thing that I hadn't done. Like I've done game live streams, play by play. I've done the usual hockey YouTube videos, the trades, the signings, like reacting to all of that and stuff. But the one thing that I had never been able to get going was a show, like a legitimate, like weekly show. And when I heard from them, that was basically what they wanted, was a show, like a weekly thing each and every week that could be a podcast, could be video as well. It ended up being a live show that we do every Friday night from 8 to 10. But yeah, they just reached out after the playoffs last year, and we put the show together, and it's been really cool. It's a fun show to do. It's really awesome to watch. It's nice to Yeah, I like doing stuff on my own a lot because
Yeah.
that's what I'm used to and that's what I've always done. And when I'm by myself, I'm in control and I know everything that's going to happen and whatnot. But it's cool to get a show done with someone else because you could never do a show like that by yourself. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
people don't want to listen to a show that's 2 hours long with only one person on. Like you have to get discussion in there. You have to get multiple opinions and get the back and forth going. So as far as like doing a real like hockey show like that, it's been awesome. And Steele's great to have on. And I love doing stuff with the other guys. Perlo is fantastic. Peyton is really, really cool. I haven't done that much with Peyton yet, but I'd love to do more in the future because he is absolutely awesome. And Joe's there as well, obviously, and he's pretty cool too. So it's been fun to be a part of that. And I'm glad that we were able to put a show together and get a show out there because that was the one thing I couldn't do on my own, mostly because I didn't have a co-host. So, to be able to do that with them is really awesome.
Yeah, and also if you guys want to check out like John's content from Steel Fires, the link will be in the description below. Kind of want to do that just for more viewers to get to know you and just
thank you.
See what your content is like. So since we know John, let's get this party started.
Oh yeah.
Instagram, follow the Powerskateshow. Let's get to 1.5 followers by the start of the season. And first off, since Grant from Flood to Sports Zone is not here, please follow Grant Flood from Flood to Sports Zone. He does daily sports news like football, baseball, hockey, any miscellaneous topics.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some things that did not make it on the Powerskateshow like post because pretty much I'm always busy from work and it is what it is. First topic, let's talk about Carrie Price that could miss significant time during the 2021-22 season with a hip injury that he suffered during the playoffs.
Well, now it looks like he's going to be ready for the start of the season. So this seemed like a very well-timed expansion tactic by Montreal because right as all of these reports came out right before the expansion draft, and obviously Price was left unprotected, and then now post-expansion draft, he had knee surgery, but he's going to be fine. He'll be back for the start of the year. So it's funny. It's funny how they kind of used all this injury talk as a protection in the expansion draft rather than actually protecting him in the expansion draft so they could protect Jake Allen. And they used his contract and injuries as a protection to keep Price.
Yeah, like Carrie Price, one thing that I would like to say, which is kind of like off topic from the injuries, but what a heroic performance in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was awesome.
The whole fan base who were even Montreal fans, they did not even expect a single game, they did not expect to beat Toronto in the first round of the playoffs. Everybody picked Toronto to beat Montreal because of the young core guys who have not started their careers yet. I'm talking about Cole Caulfield, who is part of the April call-ups or May call-ups, whatever you want to call it, and Caden Primo that backed it up due to injuries, and Alexander Romanov trying to step in what everybody really wants. Brett Kulak trying to become a top 4 defenseman or maybe a move around. Some questions with Shea Weber, which we will definitely talk about, and Arturi Lehkonen getting better. So there's many questions with this Canadian score, but I think that with a heroic performance that Carrie Price wants to play through an injury, I want to give him a round of applause because I think that he's trying to like have a best performance and then see what's what in the off season.
Yeah, he had a spectacular playoff performance, absolutely, and obviously that Montreal needs Carey Price healthy for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely, yeah. All right. Edmonton Oilers re-signed goaltender Mike Smith to a 2-year deal worth $4.4 million, and I have questions. That I always say I have questions when I'm kind of concerned with something.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you have Stuart Skinner, as kind of like your get ready, if because I heard a lot of Mikko Koskinen conversations, for like a buyout or a trade or if he's gonna retire out of nowhere. I think I would say it's a good deal, but what about Mikko Koskinen? That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, Koskinen had a brutal year last year. Mike Smith actually played well last season and had a strong year in net for the Oilers, but he's 39 years old now. What I don't know is what the Oilers' long-term plan is in goal. They better hope that Stuart Skinner can become a starting goaltender, because if he can't, the Oilers are in trouble in net.
Absolutely.
This is now, 2 more years with Mike Smith, who is in his late 30s, almost going to be 40 after this coming season. You're not going to win Stanley Cups without a true franchise goaltender. And Smith played well, but he didn't play all that great in the playoffs. Then the offense went cold for Edmonton. This is 2 straight years now in the playoffs where they've gone in with a Smith-Koskinen duo in goal, and they haven't won a series. They lost in the qualifiers in 2020 to a 12-seed Chicago team that they had no business losing to. And then this year they go in and they get absolutely destroyed by Winnipeg in 4 straight games. So Smith is fine as a veteran, like 1B type guy, but he's not going to take you to the promised land. And if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you are wasting away here years of McDavid and Draisaitl, and you don't have a long-term answer in goal. You don't have a franchise goaltender. You don't have anybody that can bring you, that deep into the playoffs. And the thing that baffles me is they're not doing anything to address it. Like, they just keep re-signing an ancient Mike Smith to 2-year contracts. It's like, you need to address the fact that you don't have a long-term solution in goal. And, they've had chances to do it, and they could have had Jesper Wallstedt last night in the draft, and they let him go, and they just picked around him. And I don't understand the long-term plan here in goal for the Oilers, unless they see Stuart Skinner as someone who's going to develop into a franchise guy. But I haven't seen that yet. It's nothing against Mike Smith. I just think the Oilers need to do better than that in goal if they're actually going to make some sort of deep playoff run that they haven't been able to do yet.
Absolutely. And I gotta agree with you. Because, like, I think what I hope for like the rules for between general managers, the front office, and the captains on each team. I would say Holland and McDavid have a one-on-one conversation about saying where would they go from now. Because that's why I have a question. Because, yes, Mike Smith is 39 years old. He is not the dude who went nuts in the 2012 playoffs when he was in Arizona.
No, that Mike Smith is long gone.
Absolutely. So, like, my question is, if Ken Holland and Connor McDavid had a conversation, would they say, we're we're not gonna sign Mike Smith, and we're not gonna sign Mikko Koskinen. We're gonna find a young goaltender in free agency, or get a trade acquisition from the draft, or the roster freeze, or pre-expansion draft.
Yeah, it would have to be a trade, I would think, for Edmonton, because this is not a good year for free agent goaltenders. It's a very weak goaltending class as far as that goes this year. Last year was a very strong goaltending class, and
Absolutely.
they didn't do anything. They went with Smith and Koskinen again, and then they get swept in round one, and you get what you ask for with that. But this is not a good free agency class as far as goaltending goes. So, I mean, again, Jesper Wallstedt was sitting there on the board when Edmonton picked in the first round. He was already slipping. He ended up slipping a lot. And, they could have had Wallstedt there, and they pass on a goaltender in the first round. The long-term outlook here in goal for Edmonton is something that needs to change very quickly, because you can't just keep re-signing mediocre older goaltenders. Not mediocre is being, not giving Mike Smith the credit. A decent older goaltender, but not a franchise guy. Mike Smith should be a 1B at this point in his career, not a guy that you're going to have starting in the playoffs trying to take you deep. It's just not going to happen. So, I don't know. Edmonton is a mess in general, but their goaltending situation is one of the biggest problems with that team.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess here's a funny one, which I think we had a field day with that. The Rangers have bought out Tony DeAngelo, and I think we don't need to get into that, because I think we pretty much knew that was coming.
Yeah. After he didn't play pretty much all of last season, after the incident early in the year, this we knew was coming. There's not much really to say. It's just 100% expected, and we'll see if somebody else takes a chance and picks him up, or if he goes unclaimed and ends up going to play over in the KHL or something like that. I don't know, but he's been a problem in the locker room everywhere he's gone, so we'll see what happens.
All right, now let's go on to the Powerskateshow Instagram for hockey news. Follow the Powerskateshow on Instagram. Links in the description below. Our personal accounts will be in the description below as well. So let's get into it. All right. Yes, we knew what happened last night.
I could not believe this.
This dude, respectedly and calmly, said that he does not, with the capital word not, does not want to get selected at last night's draft, and would like to enter in the 2022 NHL draft. And this shocked me. I can tell the hockey world was shocked.
Yeah, it was just dumb. I mean, if you don't know what happened, you can just look his name up and it will come right up. This is an off-ice issue. But the kid literally came out and said that he didn't want to be drafted. And not only does he get drafted, it's not like someone threw a 5th or 6th round pick at him. The Montreal Canadiens come out and use their 1st round pick on him. It was just absolutely ridiculous. It was an extremely tone-deaf move by the Canadiens. I have no idea what they were thinking with that pick. Obviously, he is a good player, and he's a 1st-round talent player, but the off-the-ice issues have become are a real problem, and he literally said that he did not want to be drafted in this year's draft, and they just pick him in the 1st round anyway. It's kind of an insulting move by the Montreal Canadiens, and I was absolutely shocked when it happened. I don't know what else to say. It was I thought it was absolutely ridiculous and a really dumb pick by Montreal.
Absolutely, because, like, this dude made it clear. He made it clear with a clear statement. He's saying, like, I don't feel like the trust and his mental health would not be worth it if he gets drafted like last night. One thing that I agree from him is that he wants to get drafted at the 2022 NHL draft, so that he can get his mind off of it and then move on once he plays for the London Knights in the OHL.
Yeah, but now because he was drafted this year, I don't think he can't. I don't think he can be drafted in 2022 because Montreal now has his rights for 3 years. So,
Yeah.
So it was just a ridiculous pick, and obviously this kid has a lot of maturing to do, and he obviously didn't want to be drafted so he could work on being more mature and making better decisions and things like that. I don't know why Montreal would do this or what they were thinking here. It was a very insensitive and tone deaf pick by the Canadians.
Yeah. All right, next topic. So what we do is that we have our nostalgia of the week, meaning that like we find players who are part of the news like in the early 2010s or late 2000s. But we got one tonight. Yannick Webber is our nostalgia of the week. Former NHL defenseman Yannick Webber announced his retirement at age 32 after playing 13 seasons in the NHL and 499 career games.
Yep.
I honestly like Yannick Webber. I remembered him playing when he was with the Vancouver Canucks.
Yep.
And did better in Nashville.
He played for Montreal. I remember him going all the way back to when he was with Montreal. Yeah. He was in the league for quite a while. He was always kind of like a bottom pair guy. He was never a star player or anything like that. But he played 13 years. He played for Montreal. He played for Vancouver. He played for Pittsburgh. He played for Nashville. And was always kind of a useful depth defenseman to have. So definitely a throwback name there. And congratulations to him. On a great career and now moving on. And he was a part of the Predators team that went to the finals in 2017, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. And like one thing that literally got me emotional was his Instagram post. He wrote a letter to the Stanley Cup. Which I think that was emotional for all NHL fans for doing it, but like I think that like for a player who worked hard as a full-time like bottom pair depth defenseman, there's like no other defenseman in my mind like the past like 5 years has played almost 500 games as a depth defenseman, excluding Zdeno Chara pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head or anything, but he played that role extremely well. And he was always kind of one of those guys that could be your number 6, he could be a 7, and he didn't complain or have any issues with being healthy scratched. He was a 7th defenseman for quite a while, and he would come in if someone got injured and he'd step right in. He was a true professional. And really, really play that depth D role pretty well for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Next, the Seattle Kraken signed defenseman Adam Larson from the Edmonton Oilers to a 4-year, $4 million deal. I would say that's a good contract for the Seattle Kraken.
I like this deal a lot. That's a low cap hit for a shutdown D-man like Larson. I like that deal a lot for Seattle. I mean, he's certainly not a star player. He's not going to give you huge offensive numbers, but he's going to be that steady, stay-at-home defensive defenseman that every team needs. I mean, we see what happens when teams load up on offensive defensemen. They can't keep the puck out of their own net. So Adam
Yeah.
Larson is a very useful defensive guy that I think is going to play a big role in Seattle. Looking at their roster and what they have, he's going to be a very important player for them, and I think this is a very solid deal.
Yeah, like I think that this is good option for Seattle to go to start their season. Like yes, from Seattle, like yes, they hired Dave Hackstall because like what you mentioned on your YouTube video is that they're going for a younger team direction. They're
Hmm.
not gonna go through Vegas and do what Vegas like that.
Yeah,
So I think for a player that you can like hold on for the next 4 years,
yeah.
I think that this will be a good start for a franchise.
Yeah, and
Going
he's going to
forward.
be a leader on that team, and he's one of the most veteran players that they have on their roster. So he's going to play a big role with them. I would not be surprised if he has an A on his sweater, and is one of the alternate captains. And he's going to be an important player for them to kind of help groom those younger guys because they did take a lot of young players with some of their picks or a good number of their picks. So I think he's gonna be a very big guy in the locker room for them and as a leader on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we will go into expansion draft. We're not gonna go for the whole entire list because it's gonna make it longer. We're only gonna talk about Boston and Washington,
Hmm.
which is pretty much our favorite teams. So first off, we'll talk about the Seattle Kraken selecting Jeremy Lauzon from the Boston Bruins.
Yep.
Like the leagues kind of made us mad, pretty much. But
Well,
before expansion draft, so
this was a
go ahead.
this was exactly who I was expecting Seattle to take.
Yeah, because I think for like a player who can pretty much be like a middle pair or a bomb pair.
Hmm.
I think that's a good start for Seattle starting it off.
Hmm.
Pretty much you're pretty much to replace Lazan. I think we're gonna see Vakainen stepping up in the NHL like by this upcoming year.
I don't know. He hasn't really wowed. There's a lot of talk that he might be on the trade market potentially, because his development is not coming along the way that Boston had hoped. But I think Boston is going to have to sign some free agent defensemen. That is definitely an area of concern with the Bruins. And not only did they lose Lauzon in the expansion draft, but Kevin Miller retired. So that is two
Yeah,
defensemen from their top seven last year that are no longer, or in their top six last year, really, that are no longer with the team. So Boston's going to have to sign some defensemen, but this is exactly who I thought Seattle was going to take from the Bruins. So it kind of came down to, do you take Clifton or do you take Lauzon? Lauzon's 2 years younger. I think Lauzon has higher upside.
yeah,
Clifton kind of is what he is. Like I like Connor Clifton, but he's a 6'7" guy. Like he's a depth defenseman. Like he's not somebody you really want playing every single night for the most part. He's probably best suited as a number 7 who can fill in when guys are injured or come out of the lineup. Um, and that's kind of what he is. He's a bottom pair, number 6 or number 7 guy. And Lauzon, I think, has a little bit higher upside than that. I think Lauzon will be a very steady bottom pair guy, that will be in the lineup on a nightly basis. And I think, as he continues to grow, he might have the potential to become like a number 4 middle pair type guy. But I kind of see him as a bottom pair guy, but a very steady one. And that on top of him being younger than Clifton, I thought that this would be Seattle's pick, and it absolutely was. So that makes a lot of sense for Seattle, and it's definitely a little bit of a loss for the Bruins that they're going to have to go out and try and address now.
yeah. Like Jeremy Lauzon, good good defenseman, like I said, like upside potential, like you said, but like Boston, like for their defense, like it's pretty much saying like like what are you pretty much facing right now? Like are you gonna go for a veteran defenseman this offseason, or are you gonna get some trade acquisitions?
I think it's going to be some veteran guys. They need another left shot guy, and now they need to replace somebody on the right side because they lost Miller and Lausanne. So Boston is going to be active as far as defensemen go in any way that they can get a defenseman. But you're obviously Grizzlick, McAvoy, and Carlo are your core. They're your top guys. They need to fill in around that better, for sure. And I think they're very much going to be in on probably multiple veteran defensemen this offseason. And they could go in a younger, potentially, if they want to go trade, they could go for a younger guy as well. I think Boston will be open to a lot of different possibilities as far as adding to this defense goes, because that is the main issue now for the Bruins, is filling out that D.
Absolutely. All right, next we're gonna scroll all the way to my team. I have to say bye-bye to Vitek Vanacek.
Yeah.
Well, I was a little bit surprised. I was surprised that Vanacek got picked by Seattle. I thought like Brendan Dillon, because I've been seeing a lot of Brendan Dillons. I've been seeing a lot of Connor Sherry's. But Vanacek, like. I understand that Chris Drager isn't, so I think Vanacek would be a good fit for Seattle, but like I think he's gonna be like a 1A 1B with Drager,
definitely.
like play like half of the year and Drager half
definitely.
of the year. So like what do you think about Vanacek to Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, in my mock expansion draft, I had Brendan Dillon going to Seattle, and I just thought, Vanacek was a guy that could potentially have always gone. I figured that they were going to take one of those like 24, 25-year-old goalies along with Drieger, but I didn't know which one they were going to take. I thought they might take Kakinen from Minnesota. But once they passed on him, Vanacek kind of stood out as the other goaltender that they were probably going to take. And, he had a solid year for the Capitals last year. He ended up playing way more than he was expected to because Samsonov wasn't available for most of the year, which, again, was pretty unexpected. So Vanacek ended up having to play a lot, and he did, and he played fairly well. I definitely agree with you that he's going to be a 1B along with Drieger probably being the 1A in Seattle this year. But they're going to split games, maybe not exactly half and half, but pretty close to that. And I think he's a solid guy who definitely is going to be decent in net for the Kraken. I don't think he's going to go out there and win a Vezina or anything like that, but I think he's going to be a decent goaltender.
Yeah, like Vanacek, I can see for like the next like 3 or 4 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty much gonna be like a full-time starter, pretty much. If he gets his game up, and like by not like allowing like multiple shots, by not allowing too much goals, like the last couple of the last games by the start of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could see like a goals against with 2.3 or 2.2.
Yeah, I mean, if you get your goals against down below 2.5, then that you're putting up very good starting goaltender numbers for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, next up. Avalanche right wing Matt Calvert announces retirement at age 31 after playing 11 seasons in the NHL. That was a surprise retirement.
He's
That came
dealt
out
with
of nowhere.
he's dealt with a lot of injuries over the past couple years, so that's why he's retiring, because of the injury issues. But obviously, at 31, he's definitely not an old player. But I always loved Matt Calvert. Even going back to him in Columbus, I loved Matt Calvert. He was one of those spark plug, high energy, do anything and everything for his teammates kind of guys. He was one of my favorite players. Really fun guy to watch, and one of those very important kind of depth guys that glues the team together. And definitely kind of stinks that he ended up missing so much time these past couple of years, because he was a really fun guy to watch, and I enjoyed it. So again, wishing him the best in retirement. Definitely hoping that he can get healthy and live the rest of his life to the fullest now that he's after hockey. But I just think the wear and tear of his style of play really, his body was beat up and he got injured a lot these past couple of years, and he just couldn't physically do it anymore. But he was a great guy to watch, and I was a big fan of his.
Absolutely, yeah. I've been liking Matt Calvert since he pretty much broke into the league.
Yep.
Been noticing him like around like 2012, 2013. That's how I liked him, but like, since he's retired, then like it's pretty much like the player that I've been watching for like 10 years, 8 years. Like he had an amazing career with Columbus. Like from like a struggling Columbus team to like a redeeming Columbus team in 2014. Playoff team from 2017, 2018, and 2019 Blue Jack. That was like he's been like well efficient the whole time, like consistent and solid at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very good kind of bottom six winger for sure.
Next topic, Philadelphia Flyers trade defenseman Shane Gostisbehere and a 2022 7th round pick to the Arizona Coyotes for future considerations. I think they already got the details out. I don't know what's for the future considerations, but
cap space.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was just a salary dump by Philadelphia.
Yeah. I knew that Shane Gostisbehere was gonna get traded by the off seasons by hearing like so many rumors about it. So like, I think Flyers fans are getting ready for Cam York.
Oh, definitely, season. Yeah. And Gostisbehere has been extremely inconsistent over the past few years. He's really gone downhill. He was he burst onto the scene when he came up in with Philly and had some really good seasons, but it had really gone downhill recently. And he ended up being extremely inconsistent. And at this point, this was just a move for the Flyers to dump cap space, or to gain cap space, dump a big salary, and open up some more money that they can spend this offseason, which they are already doing, because they've made quite a few other moves as well.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia did a good job dumping some cap space to get more.
I have no problem with this trade.
Yeah. And this one, Hurricanes trade 2019 Calder Cup champion Alex Nedeljkovic, can't pronounce his last name, to the Detroit Red Wings for Mr. Jonathan Bernier.
Yeah, I didn't understand this one at all. I mean, to give up a 25-year-old up-and-coming goaltender who was literally a Rookie of the Year finalist this past year, to send him off for a 32-year-old veteran guy who's kind of always been a career fringe starter. Now, don't get me wrong, Bernier's had some good seasons with the Red Wings, despite being on a bad team. His individual play has been good, but I just don't know why you give up a 25-year-old potential franchise goalie for a 32-year-old starter who's played most of his career on bad teams. it just, this was a mind-boggling one for me, why Carolina would do this. Since the trades happened, a lot's come out about, Nedeljkovic maybe not wanting to stay in Carolina, him wanting more money from Carolina and Carolina not wanting to pay it. This is a bad look for the Hurricanes, who now do not have a signed goaltender on the roster because Reimer and Mrazek are both UFAs, and Bernier, who they traded for, is a pending UFA. So Carolina doesn't have a goalie right now, and they just traded away a 25-year-old who could potentially be a franchise goalie. So the optics of this are pretty bad for the Hurricanes, and it's definitely a head scratcher for sure.
Yeah, like I've been liking Nedeljkovic when from that Charlotte Checkers Calder Cup team, because I've been watching him when Charlotte sadly swept Hershey in the at a Atlantic Division Championship round. So I think Nedeljkovic with a amazing performance, kind of like a Jordan Bennington way. I'm talking about his goals against he lowered below 2.
Yeah. Yeah, Nedeljkovic had a great season. He had a phenomenal rookie year. I think the team in front of him being really, really good and being really good defensively helped him a lot. But there's no doubt he's a very good goaltender because he was a very good goalie down in the AHL with Charlotte. So again, this is a massive win for the Red Wings in my opinion. And I'm not really sure what Carolina's thought process was here. This is not a good hockey trade for Carolina.
Yeah. Bruins fans, meet Taylor Hall.
This is fantastic. 4 years, $6 million per. Pretty much exactly what I was hoping for a deal. Hall played phenomenal after the trade deadline. Once he came over from out of Buffalo, he fit in very, very nicely. I have nothing but good things to say about this deal. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, Bruins fans must be very happy for Taylor Hall because obviously what he said after he was traded to Boston, he said I really like Boston here. I want to spend as long as I can in Boston because let's look back in Edmonton, New Jersey. He was on bad teams for most of his career, and now he's on a winning format team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. This is him in Boston. This is the best team Taylor Hall's ever played on. So
absolutely.
After years of being stuck in a lousy Edmonton team, going to New Jersey and having that one MVP season, but not really having anything else around him. And then even the Arizona team he got traded to wasn't very, they were a fringe playoff team. And then Buffalo was, as everyone knows, an absolute disaster. So this is by far the best team that Taylor Hall's been on, and I expect big things from him.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this. It's a cup or bust for Taylor Hall.
It's cup or bust for the Boston Bruins. I mean, they are. Patrice Bergeron just turned 36 years old. I mean, the window here with this, with the Bergeron group is not much longer. So, they've got to get out there and make that deep run and go for if they are going to get another cup, they're going to have to do it, I think, within the next year or two, without having to kind of reset a little bit. So. I think it's cup or bust for everyone involved here.
Absolutely, yeah. The New York Rangers re-signed left wing Barclay Goodrow to a 6-year, $3.6 million deal. I think the year length is too long. For Barclay Goodrow.
Absolutely.
But I would say that the money price is good. I'll give the Rangers credit for price. But if you're looking for someone who's kind of like a 26-year-old left wing, I believe, who's pretty much starting to become like a almost a top six player, a full time top six. I would say sign him to a modern 3 years. 3 years, 3.6 mil, or 4 years.
I would have given Goodrow a 3x3, but he doesn't score enough to be worth this kind of contract. He's not a big point producer. I love his game. He's extremely fun to watch. I love Barclay Goodrow, but he doesn't warrant this kind of contract. I mean, first of all, 6 years is way too long for somebody that plays as physically as he does, because their bodies don't hold up. I mean, look at Matt Calvert. He just retired at 31 years old because his body didn't hold up. I don't know how you give somebody who's this physical a 6-year deal, because likely by the end of it, he may not even be able to play anymore. And if he does, he's probably not going to be at the same level that he is right now, where he's really at the peak of his career right now. I don't think he has the offensive upside to warrant this kind of contract. I would have given him a 3-year deal at $3 million per, but that's about it for me. I think this was an overpayment by the Rangers.
Yeah, he 28-year-old left wing. He's like the contract one when he's 34.
Yeah,
34.
That's if he might still be in, if he's lucky enough to still be in the league at 34, he is not going to be anywhere close to, he'll be like a fourth line depth guy, maybe even a healthy scratch guy. Like his just not going to be able to play this way for that long. We see it all the time. Look at what happened to even Barclay Goodrow is not a star player, but he plays that power forward kind of game. Look at what's happened to star power forwards. Look at how badly Wayne Simmons fell off once he got to like 31, 32. Look at what happened to David Backes after he left St. Louis, where he just fell off a cliff. Look at what happened to Troy Brouwer. Once he got into his 30s, it was straight downhill. So I think this is way too big of a contract for a guy like that. And it might be okay for the first couple of years, but by the end of this contract, it's going to be an ugly one, I think.
Yeah, because power forwards usually last when they're like 32 or 33, because
a lot of them, as soon as they hit 30, it's just downhill from there.
Absolutely, because
Milan Lucic is another example.
Yeah, because the players that we've been talking about, and also from like past episodes, players who are like power forwards, when they like ring 30 years old, it's pretty much like you're like waving the red flag, like the hurricane flag, because your body is about to take away. But like, no, you're not. It's basically not like Alex Ovechkin, who can hit and score at the same time. But that's different. Like if you're someone who hits a lot over scoring, then pretty much your career is like early.
Yeah, and that's what Goodrow is. Like he's a physical hit first player. Offense isn't his thing. He's not going to come in and score 25 or 30 goals. So even he doesn't even have the offensive upside of that the guys like Backes and Simmons and Lucic once did early in their careers. He's never going to be that, and he brings that level of physicality, but he's never brought that level of offense and never will. So I think it's too big of a contract. I don't think this is going to end well. It might be okay for the first few years, but it's not going to end well.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. If they sign for like a 3-year, 3x3, then that's a win-win for the Rangers.
Yeah.
Another trade, the Seattle Kraken trades left wing Tyler Pitlick to the Calgary Flames for a 2022 4th-round pick. I'll say that's a good move.
Depth move, yeah,
but
Pitlick's solid. Like Pitlick can kill penalties. He can play on the third line. He's a hard-working player, which I think is going to go over really well in Calgary. But it's a bottom 6 depth move for the Flames. It's not any show-stopping change or anything like that.
Yeah. Like Pitlick, I've been liking what he's been doing for the past 4 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a very useful third line guy, but
yeah,
he's not going to drastically make Calgary a playoff team all of a sudden. He's not going to have that level of impact.
Yeah. Moving on. All right, now we're going to talk about yesterday news.
Oh boy.
Buffalo trades Rasmus Ristolainen to the Philadelphia Flyers for defenseman Robert Hagg and two first round picks. I forgot to add to another first round pick because I was pretty much on break when that happens. But before work, I have to get going. So anyways, I would say that's a good move for Buffalo because
you're not kidding.
This is my thoughts.
I don't know what Philly's doing here.
Because Buffalo, okay, if they trade Ristolainen to Tampa Bay or Vegas, okay, that's a good trade. But if you're a team like Philadelphia, missed the playoffs, made the playoffs, missed the playoffs, made the playoffs, bounce back year after year after year. Are we gonna ask questions for the whole season? Probably so. Probably so.
Yeah, Ristolainen just isn't that good. I've never been a fan of Ristolainen. His defensive game is terrible. I would never have given up a 14th overall pick for Rasmus Ristolainen. If you wanted to do Haig in the second, maybe it's worth a chance, but giving up a first rounder, especially a top 15 pick, I think that's absolutely brutal for the Flyers. And Rasmus Ristolainen better be significantly better now that he's out of Buffalo and with a new team. This is a huge opportunity for him. He has to make the most of this because his career in Buffalo was not good. He never lived up to being the player that he was supposed to. So we'll see how it goes. But at initial reaction is that this is a massive overpayment by the Philadelphia Flyers for a very mediocre defenseman. They better hope that Ristolainen turns into something a lot better than that now that he's not on the worst team in the league.
Absolutely. Because, since he's in Philadelphia for Ristolainen, his career is on the line.
Oh, yeah. If he fails here, his value is going to absolutely plummet. And he'll end up being a kind of career bottom pair guy like Nikita Zadorov has turned into, who was another first-round pick by the Buffalo Sabres that never panned out to being worth a first-round pick. He's headed towards Nikita Zadorov territory if he doesn't turn his career around this coming season in Philadelphia.
Yeah. All right, next. All right, the St. Louis Blues trade right wing Sammy Blais and a 2022 second round pick to the New York Rangers for right wing Pavel Buchnevich. And I also have questions with this trade, which does not relate to Sammy Blais, but I have questions on Pavel Buchnevich and the New York Rangers. St. Louis won this trade.
Oh, absolutely. This was a fantastic deal for the Blues.
My question is, Pavel Buchnevich broke down his rookie season, I think in the 2017-18 season. He is a consistent winger. He can give you points. But for a Rangers team that can redeem it, I'm talking about when he broke out in 2017-18, 14 goals, 29 assists, 43 points. He is a 40-point guy. He's well paced to where he's at. This dude had 20 goals last year.
Yeah.
28 assists for 48 points. Plus minus is 12, which is the best he had in his career.
He's coming off his best season in the NHL, and he's still young, and he's a legitimate top 6 winger. Like he could play on your first line and not be out of place there. He's a first line level guy. So this is a massive get for the St. Louis Blues, and the Rangers, I don't think, got nearly enough in return for a guy like this. For the Blues to get Pavel Buchnevich and not have to give up either a blue chip prospect or a first round pick is an absolute win for the St. Louis Blues. Sammy Blais is a third liner. The Rangers basically traded a first line right wing for a third line right wing and a second round pick. I don't think that's enough in return for Buchnevich for New York. Sammy Blais' career high in goals in a season, I think, is like 8. He's a third line player.
Like Sammy Blais, he had this past season he had 36 games with 8 goals, 7 assists for 15 points, and he even rated 12 penalty minutes.
And Buchnevich had 48 points this past season.
Absolutely, yeah.
This trade is a massive win for the Blues.
Yeah, if this was like a the Rangers did not get anything even better in return. If it was Buchnevich to the Blues for like a guy like Colton Parayko or David Perron, Zach Sanford.
If it was David Perron and like a first round pick, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, and because like you have options, excluding Sammy Blais. If you want to make a trade for like Pavel Buchnevich to the Blues, then yeah, like you would even like figure out like a David Perron, Pavel Buchnevich, and a first round draft pick, or like Buchnevich for Sanford, 2 second round picks. I can say that's a win on both sides, or like time would tell.
The Rangers did not get nearly enough in this deal. That's just my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah. Next up, okay, I was interested about this. Coyotes trade defenseman Oliver Ekman-Larsson and right wing Connor Garland to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange a 2021 first round pick. Which was the 8th overall pick, I believe?
9th overall, where they drafted Dylan Guenther.
Yeah. Left wing Louis Eriksson, center Jay Beagle, and right wing Antoine Roussel. The 3 guys going to Arizona for cap hell.
Yeah.
Vancouver, bottom line, won this trade. Because Vancouver, for so many years, could not even figure out to move away Louis Eriksson. They could not even figure out a way how to buy him out. They could not figure out a way to like trade him. Or even retain any salary.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing about it is that Vancouver would not have to worry about any horrible cap problems. But yeah, I think like Oliver Ekman-Larsson is your only cap problem, but like Connor Garland right behind you, so
Garland's a big pickup for Vancouver for sure. And it's also big for them to get Eriksson, Beagle, and Roussel's contracts off the books, because those were all problem contracts for Vancouver. So for them to be able to open up that cap space and get those guys off the books is big. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, I'm not really high on anymore. This guy has been brutal for the past couple of years, really fallen off a cliff. Maybe the change of scenery will be good for him, and he'll get, he's never going to go back to what he was, but at least maybe he can get back to being a decent player. His cap hit's still really high, though. But Garland's a nice get for the Canucks. I like his game a lot. And the big thing was just them getting those contracts out of there. That was the most important part for Vancouver.
Yes. Yeah, and moving on. So, but before we go to our next topic, so Grant has sent me his thoughts from like the Goodrow, Hall, and Gossip Spirit trades, and then we'll go back from for our next topics. He said for the Gossip Spirit trade to Arizona, he says the Coyotes should have just traded a fourth rounder for Shane Gostisbehere. Rangers re-signed Barclay Goodrow with smart but slight overpayment. For the Taylor Hall re-sign was at the right price. He expects a 30-goal plus season for Taylor Hall during his contract length.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Moving on. Okay, and I know. I saw the video. That does not make sense.
This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. For the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, Seth Jones' career has been on a straight decline for the past 3 seasons, and not only do they give up Adam Boquist for him, but they give up 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. And then that's just the trade. On top of that, they sign him to one of the worst, most ridiculous contracts in the league, giving him an 8-year deal at $9.5 million per season. Just absolutely mind-boggling to me. His contract, I think, is going to end up being close to as bad as Jeff Skinner's in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what Chicago is doing here. This was just unbelievably bad for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, so like Chicago, your defense is officially a question mark and concern to every single fan base in the NHL. Cause like you lost Duncan Keith. Zadorov is a question mark, like we've talked about a couple of minutes ago. And Caleb Jones, something else. Chicago, what is going on? Now, Chicago, you're going to rely some AHL dudes on your decor.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. And you literally have to figure out a way to help out Malcolm Subban and Connor D'Elia this upcoming year.
I don't think Chicago's going to be very good.
And we're gonna say this really fast. First overall pick, Owen Power. Met the Michigan guys. Getting drafted top 2. 1-2. Matt Beniers, and I just want to say Luke Hughes. From the New Jersey Devils draft party. I've been seeing signs of saying like draft Luke Hughes. Hughes 2.0.
Yeah, they wanted him to play with Jack, and they got it. So I like that a lot. There's a lot of high upside here with Hughes going to New Jersey.
Yeah, and I love Jack Hughes' reaction, just like because I think that's one of the best memorable moments and in recent history for like Luke Hughes getting drafted by New Jersey. So I hope Luke Hughes would have a good career in New Jersey. So let's see how this would be panned out for New Jersey. Alright, so unfortunately the Capitals did not have a first round pick. So the 21st pick, the Boston Bruins picked Fabian Lysell.
Absolutely loved it. He slipped. Lysell was ranked number 11 in my draft rankings this year. And he slipped all the way to 21st where the Bruins took him. I thought for sure he was going to go in the top 15. and he slipped all the way down. So I absolutely love this pick for the Bruins. They finally took the best player available, which Boston in recent drafts have done way too much reaching with their picks. They finally just took the best player available on the board, and I'm all in on this being Boston's first round pick. I think this was a fantastic get for them at 21st overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And for what Detroit drafted
Sebastian Casa and Simon Edvinsson with their first two picks.
Sebastian Costa should have been a Capital. Well, if the Caps did not trade Verona, which I still could not get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. But Costa will if the Capitals did not trade their first round, I wouldn't see them drafting a goalie because they have too much goalies.
Mm-hmm. Well, they just lost Vanacek though, so.
Well, yeah, because you have like Copley at.
Yeah, Copley's getting up there. Copley's an AHL guy now. Like he's not young anymore.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I could see Washington getting a goaltender.
I don't think they would have taken a first round goalie, but I mean Washington is a team that certainly could use a young goaltender.
Yeah. All right, we got four more topics, and then we will talk about your the Bruins cap situations and all that for this next week free agency. So the Sabres trade left wing Sam Reinhart to the Florida Panthers. Actually, the future considerations was goaltender Devin Levi
and a first round pick next year.
And a first round pick. So, what do you think of that trade? But before you say it, for me, I think that this is a good trade.
Yeah.
Like, Florida is trying to get players to get better. And if you're Sam Reinhart, who has been well consistent with a horrible Sabres team, do we see a translation when it gets to Florida? We may see that.
I think we're going to see a big year from Sam Reinhart with Florida. This is his first time finally on a good team. I like this trade for both teams. I thought Buffalo maybe could have been able to get a little bit more, but there's definitely no loser here. Reinhart finally gets out of Buffalo. He's been a very good player with the Sabres despite the team being so bad. He's going to go to a team in Florida that is, had a great year last year, has a ton of talent on it, can score a lot of goals. I think Reinhart's going to put up big numbers with the Florida Panthers and be a very good addition to that team. And for Buffalo, you get a fantastic goaltending prospect in Devin Levi, and that is an area that Buffalo very much needs to address and get some young talent in there.
Yeah.
And that's the goaltending position. So getting Devin Levi is huge for the Buffalo Sabres, and they also get a first-round pick in next year's draft for it. So I like this trade for both teams. I don't think there's really any winner or loser here. I think both teams get pieces that are going to help them. Florida, it's going to help them right now. Buffalo, it's going to help them in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Next, alright, I think Avalanche fans are getting ready to honk their horns in Denver. Avalanche re-signed defenseman Cale Makar to a 6-year, $9 million AAV.
Yep.
But I understand that he was part of the Norris candidates.
I think he's going to win the Norris this season.
Yeah, but I'm kind of against on contracts like after their ELC. If like the 6 years is good, but the $9 million per year is kind of way too much for like a player who passed his ELC. Basically, like it's a little bit like I wouldn't say the word rare, but like there are some players that whenever they come out with a long like a over 8 million deal, like right out of the gate, that doesn't do very well. But I would say that the contract is very good. Like I agree with the money and I agree with the year length, but like I would say like Colorado should think about like what should they do from here on out. Joe Sakic knows what he's doing. He knows the future of Kel McCarr because like, everybody knows that like he's gonna be part of the Norris conversations like this year and in the next like 5 to 8 years.
I think Cale Makar. This is an A+ contract for the Colorado Avalanche. Cale Makar is going to be the best defenseman in the NHL. Like this guy is the next top guy in the NHL. The fact that he has just signed a 6-year deal, making less money than Seth Jones, shows what an absolute joke the Seth Jones contract is.
Yeah,
because Seth Jones isn't even a number 1 defenseman. Cale Makar is going to be the best defenseman in the NHL, and he's making less than Drew Doughty, less than Erik Karlsson, less than Seth Jones now. It's slightly more than Alex Pietrangelo, which I think he's going to be better than Pietrangelo. So this is an A+ contract for the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think, yeah, like you said, that's an A+, and I think Colorado's giving Chicago Blackhawks front office the wake-up call for not signing Seth Jones to the gigantic deal like Jeff Skinner 2.0's contract.
Makar could have easily asked for Drew Doughty's contract, which was 8 years, 11 million per season. Makar could have gotten 10 to 11 million per season, but he to get him at 9. That's an absolute win for Colorado.
Yeah.
This guy will win multiple Norris trophies.
Yeah. Next up, which is pretty much a minor deal, which it's gonna be really quick.
Prospects.
Trade, Steenbergen and Burke to LA for defenseman Cole Hutz. Yeah, those are like small AHL trades. And finally, we're going to finish the best one for last. Voracek back to Columbus.
Yep.
For Cam Atkinson. I was surprised that Atkinson was involved with this trade, but like despite of like the struggles for like the past 2 seasons of Cam Atkinson, I think like Atkinson would literally boost to where he would be when he made like All-Stars.
Yeah, I like this deal a lot for the Flyers. One, because they needed to get rid of Voracek's contract. His contract was way too much. They needed to open up that cap space and at least get that contract off the books. And Cam Atkinson has struggled the past couple of years, but Columbus is not an offensive team. He doesn't have really anybody to feed him the puck. And he's a goal scorer. He's only a guy that's going to be effective when you have good playmakers playing with him to feed him the puck. And he hasn't had that the past couple of years. I think he's going to have much more of that with Philadelphia. I think his numbers are going to go back up with Philadelphia. So not only does Philadelphia get rid of the Voracek contract, but they get a pretty solid second line level right wing for Voracek as well. And then obviously I think that's a win for the Flyers. And then Columbus doesn't have to worry about Voracek's contract as much because they don't have a lot of payroll. They don't have a lot other big contracts. So they can bite the bullet on paying Voracek $8.25 per year because they really don't have anyone else that they're paying at that level. Whereas Philadelphia, they're right up against the salary cap, so they can't afford to be paying Voracek $8.25. So Columbus can take on that contract and they still get a very solid right winger in Jake Voracek. And then for Philly, I think this is a big win for the Flyers because not only do they get a very solid right winger in Cam Atkinson, but they save, I think it's about $2.3 million in cap space by making this deal. And that is really what Philadelphia needed, was that cap space.
Yeah, absolutely. So final topic, which is pretty much gonna leave the floor to you. We will discuss your team, the Boston Bruins, for like salary cap, draft picks, and player contracts for this offseason. Obviously for just upcoming free agency, Krejci as UFA, Richie, Kasha. Corrali is going to be an unrestricted free agent.
Yep.
Tenori and Riley. The conversation between Rask and Halak. Pretty much some couple of like AHL guys like Greg McKaig, Zach Snishin, Callum Booth. Pretty much on the free agency. So John, take it away.
Yeah, so David Krejci is still very much up in the air. He's told the team that he hasn't decided what he's going to do yet. Sean Corrali will not be back. He had a brutal year last year. I think he'll just be gone in free agency. Richie and Kasha apparently are going to get qualifying offers, so I guess if they sign, they'll be back. Tenorti probably won't be back. Mike Riley, I'd like to see them possibly bring Riley back. He showed a lot of offensive upside as far as being a defenseman there after the trade deadline last year. So I wouldn't be opposed to getting Riley back if the price is right. Halak will not be back. Rask is injured, so we still don't know what's going to happen with Rask. But even if Rask re-signs with the Bruins, he won't be playing until at least February of next season. So goaltending is a big issue for Boston. They need a goaltender for the start of this coming year. So they're definitely going to be signing a veteran goaltender in free agency. Other than that, the AHL guys, I don't think they really matter much. Those are not guys you're going to be seeing at the NHL level. You're not going to be seeing those guys in the NHL lineup unless Boston has, a significant number of guys out with injury. And they're forced into playing those guys. But the Bruins have about $20 million in cap space to use this offseason. And that's post-Taylor Hall deal. They still have $20 million to work with. So they're going to be very active, I think, in the free agent market. And you're going to see Boston not only looking at goaltenders, they're going to be very active looking for defensemen because they need to improve that defense. And they know that. So I expect Boston to be busy this offseason. They've got money to work with. They're going to spend it. And like I was saying earlier when we were talking about the Taylor Hall deal, it is win now for the Boston Bruins. It's cup or bust. So expect them to go all in this offseason to try and put together a cup contending team again.
Yeah, like I think Boston's the important task is goaltending because obviously Halak will be out.
Rask is hurt.
Rask
Swayman is not going to play in the NHL this year. They're going to give him a full season in the AHL. So you're going to have Vladar as the backup goaltender, but they need somebody else there to start, at least until Rask is able to come back. So they will be signing a veteran goaltender this offseason.
Yeah. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up for Season 3, Episode 14 of the Powerskateshow podcast. The final episode of Season 3. This upcoming Monday will be Season 4, which would be a makeup for this upcoming Wednesday, because obviously I have work. So and with that, do you guys want to follow the Powerskateshow on social media? Links will be in the description below. I'm going to rephrase that. Do you guys want to follow our personal accounts? Links will be in the description below. Do you guys want to follow the Powerskateshow for news, updates when we go live and such? Links will be in the description below. Do you guys want to follow Grant Flip from Footsy Sports on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube? Links will be in the description below. Check out Grant on his YouTube for for his sports talk show on Sunday, Futs the Sports Zone. And check out John from Off the Wall Hockey. Links in the description below. The Off the Wall Hockey social media. And also check out his merch. offthewallhockey.com/merch, I believe.
It's Teespring.
Teespring, yeah.
Teespring.com/store/offthewallhockeyshop.
Yes, and I'm not sure if I put that in the description below, but I will definitely take care of that after the show. Would you like to add anything to it, John?
Just thank you for having me. It was fun to be on the show. It was great to talk to you, and it's been a while since we've done this. So thank you for having me on. I had a great time and really appreciate it, and it's been fun, man.
Yeah. And with that, if you guys like this, hit the like button. That's going to make us do more podcast videos in the near future. Get ready for season 4. Some free agency talk. We all know it's gonna be on Wednesday. We're gonna cover that for season 4, episode 2. Grant will be back on season 4, episode 2. Next guest will be Harrison from the Nova Caps Washington Capitals blog page. He's gonna have his 3rd appearance on the show, so tune into that. And with that, we will see you guys on Monday. Have a good night, everybody.